So you're about halfway through this tour now, for the UK leg of the tour at least.
Yeah.
How have you been finding it so far? Is it fun?
It's been awesome. It's been it's crazy to see the reaction that we're getting. It just seems like you can kind of tell everything's snowballing. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Seeing kids like sing along from the first show up until now, it seems like the numbers are growing, and people are a lot more familiar with us here than like over mainland, but to see people singing in like Prague, and then to see like a ton of people singing here, like in Bristol or wherever we've been so far, it's pretty rad. And it's been awesome to hang with the letlive dudes and the American scene guys and stuff. Like, it's been like a tour, not just of accomplishment musically, but just also just like a sick vibe from knowing everybody and being friends with everybody.
Definitely. Would you say there's a big difference between the UK and European crowds as opposed to the ones back home?
Yeah, it's definitely different than back home. Like I think the bands, are more received here in the sense of American bands coming over. I feel like the bands that are coming over are clearly the bands that are doing it for the right reason and whatnot. And I think people here see that.
Yeah.
And people just like honest music here. I mean, U.S. is the same way, but I think what's cool about it here is that people are more excited because it doesn't seem like it happens as often. You know what I mean?
They appreciate it more.
Right, exactly. So I think that's really rad.
Yeah. And you had your debut album into existence about a couple of months back now.
Yeah.
How have you found the reaction, not from just the fans, but the media as well?
It's been crazy. It really has been crazy. I mean, we wrote that and recorded that record with no other expectation than just making the best record that we can, because I mean that's just how we are as people. We have like our internal goals, and just to see the reaction, through the social media and through people, it kind of shows you that it's something special. I mean, we just made the record that we wanted to make, and people are calling it album of the year. It's we don't expect anything like that. So when we see it and we read about it or hear about it, it's pretty rewarding in the sense it's like cool. Like, we're still writing and trying to better ourselves, but people are very happy with what they're hearing, and to see that reaction on a much deeper level than just it's a great record. It's pretty awesome. It's very fulfilling, but at the same time it makes us push even harder to make an even better record.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Like you said, the album of the year, some people are saying that it's quite a prestigious title, especially when we've got a few months left.
Right, exactly. It's really crazy, especially the fact that we're already on writing the second record, and like we just never stop writing. We just want to make it better and push it, because I mean that's cool for people to say that, but it's still not where we want to be. We want to just keep going.
Yeah. I mean, in terms of a debut album, I mean, it's quite like in terms of other debut albums at least, it's quite long. It's 15 tracks, 70 minutes long.
Yeah.
I mean, was that a conscious decision when you went into making it, or did it just come to be? Or
it wasn't like, let's make a long record, but we when we finished, like when we cut down from like 60 songs, and when we cut down to that, we had like 20. And then I just had to stick my tongue out at Lonnie. When we cut down from that, we had like 20, and then even then we cut down to 15, and like we just didn't want to. We were just happy with everything, but then we like honed in on the vibe we were going for, and it wound up being those 15. And everyone's like, oh, this is such a long record, blah blah blah. But it's like we don't care. Like that's what we want to do. And at that point, we realized it was a long record. We were just like, we're not going to change who we are, know. And bands that we love don't change who they are. I mean, we grew up on bands that like just breathe art. You know what I mean? Like, it's not about money. It's not about money. It's not about fame. Blah blah blah. It's just about being a musician and making art. I mean, that's what the root of music is. It's art. You know what I mean? And that's who we are. We're artists that just want to create as much of a picture as we can for people.
Did it make you kind of wary putting it out though, in terms of the length? Like, because obviously you've got a lot of people aren't quite as patient to count, at least for one sitting. The whole album.
It doesn't bother me. It doesn't bother any of us. It's cool actually, because a lot of people who, like, a lot of the reviews, if there was like, and this isn't in a pretentious way, this is just from reading it, a lot of the reviews, the only negative comment, if there was one, was that it's too long. And like, one, we don't care, because that's how we wanted to do it. And two, a lot of those people wind up writing or tweeting or whatever, again, that they've listened to it more and it's grown on them. And then those are some of the people who have started to call it album of the year. And you know, our favorite records are ones that grow on you. You know what I mean? It's like, I don't want to listen to a band and have 10 songs be over and like you know what you're getting. Like I want mystery, I want depth, I want a journey, I want like a musical, you know, like voyage of sound in space. Like I want to be changed, I want to feel something, you know what I mean? And like all my favorite bands have that. Even bands with shorter records that just go into what they're doing. It's like, you know, like they take you for this thing that it's like more than music. And that's what means a lot to us as artists, you know?
Well, going off what you said as well, with obviously all the different influences and stuff like that, when you were writing the record, was there a particular influence, at least for you, like an artist or a band or an album you listened to at the time that really...
There's actually a movie.
A movie?
There was a movie that influenced us all. There's a movie called Beyond the Black Rainbow.
Okay.
And I don't know if you've ever seen it, but it's a very cerebral movie. It's, I mean, the visuals, there's like hardly any dialogue in it. The visuals, the soundtrack, it's hard to explain because you have to see it, but it was a huge influence on us as just writing. I mean, we take influence from so many different artists and bands, but like it's the stuff we like could be like completely out of the box, and it could be stuff that is relevant. So I mean, all of that is kind of, it just fluctuates so much that we never really like tend to like zoom in on one specific vibe or genre or whatever. But the thing that we all like rooted to a huge influence was that movie. I mean, we must have watched it like 50 times in the studio. It's just one of those movies that you turn the lights off and you watch it and you're just kind of just like enthralled the whole time. I mean, it's very cerebral. It's a very dark and very, I guess, like not negative, but I mean, there's a very dark tone to it. It's a very crazy movie to watch. I suggest anyone watch it. It's pretty awesome.
It was highly recommended.
Yeah, totally. It's called Beyond the Black Rainbow. I can't remember who directed it, but it's definitely a movie that you really have to have an acquired taste for because it's pretty crazy. But it's so awesome. I mean, when you're recording a record, especially what we do, I mean, we're very big on vibe, and we recorded in Portland where it's very gloomy, you know, it's always like raining, you know, and it just kind of like pieces everything together, and then at the end of the night after a session you're watching this movie that even like, you know, encompasses everything furthermore. And you know, it's definitely a really important part of the process is to lock in things that you all, you know, we're all on the same page when it comes to writing and recording. We want what we want, you know?
Yeah, so you're all going down the same path towards the end goal.
Yeah, totally.
Cool. You were saying as well that you've started working on album number 2. How's that shaping up so far? Is it just a few rough ideas, or?
It's awesome. I've honestly, like, it's such a happy feeling because we just love to write. That's what we do constantly. Whether we're like, you know, in the venue or walking down the street, we're always talking about the next thing. And this record is, you know, I feel like we've learned from what we felt are not mistakes, but you know, things we want to grow from on the record we just made on the debut record. I feel like the weird is getting even weirder. The prog is getting, you know, the more technical stuff is getting even more so, and the songwriting is getting a lot stronger. You know, we're not trying to do anything but just challenge ourselves. You know, we're not trying to like switch our styles or genres, whatever. We're just expanding who we are as people and artists and challenging ourselves, and this record is already doing that, which is awesome. You know, it's definitely pushing us further into what we want. So that's cool.
Do you have any other plans for 2013 so far? Or?
Yeah, we have like 5 days off after this tour. And then we go out for a month and another like month or so with Pull Out Like Birds, Harvard, and My Iron Lung, and that goes until like right before like Thanksgiving. And then I think we're gonna have some like holiday shows, and then we're coming back early next year. I mean, it's crazy because, you know, we've been a band for such a short amount of time, but things seem like they're starting to snowball a lot more now, to where like, you know, it feels like it's only just beginning in so many levels that we're going to just start getting busier and busier, which is what we want.
Definitely.
So I'm a lot happier knowing that now than like there was that limbo for a little, like, oh, I hope people, you know, I hope what we're doing live comes across, yada yada, whatever. And like now it seems like that's actually happening and people are seeing what we're putting out, and it's definitely keeping us busier.
Awesome. Are there any final words for the readers and your fans, anything?
I'm just very happy that everybody seems to be as excited as we are about what we do, and we're definitely going to keep pushing ourselves, and we're happy to have people already understanding who we are and what we want as a band and as people. So I feel like a lot of people listening to us are going to follow us for a long time because we're not changing who we are and whatnot. So
this is just the beginning.
Yeah, totally.
Awesome.
Yeah.